Hi everyone, let's learn a couple of different methods to draw a freehand circle. Then you should try these methods and see which one works for you. I'm going to demonstrate my favorite. Let's start with the enclosing square method. In this one, you're going to start with a square, the dimensions of your circle's diameter, all right? And you'll lightly sketch and find the midpoints of each side. You also want to draw diagonals through the corners, okay? That will help you find the middle. Next, you'll take the radius, so from the middle to one of the midpoints, maybe the top one, and you will trace that distance all the way around, right, to kind of give you a little bit of direction and sketch out the guidelines of that circle. Finally, take your heavier pen or pencil and in one smooth motion all the way around, you're going to want to complete your circle. Our next method is similar, but it doesn't use that enclosing square. Instead, start from the center lines. So start with a cross, and you'll also want to add diagonals to that cross. And finally, mark your radius. Take that around all of the different guidelines. And then you'll take your final pen or pencil and complete your circle. Now, the problem with these two methods is that they're great for drawing perfect circles, but they're not great if what you want is an oval or an ellipse, or if you're trying to draw in any kind of distortion or three-dimensional drawing system, like an isometric or a perspective. And so my favorite one is this next method here. And I've taken that enclosing square method and we've just modified it slightly, okay? And so go ahead and start with those the same enclosing square, and you'll want a crosshairs and also the diagonal guidelines, all right? So all of these guidelines that are shown. Next, you're going to take each diagonal, right, each diagonal section in a little square and divide it into 3. Now this is pretty easily done by eye. I don't typically attempt to measure this. After you've done it a time or two, it's fairly simple to divide that distance by 3. Okay. So notice we took this small square piece. All right, here is the diagonal in question from this center point to this corner point, and we have marked it with 2 marks to create 1, 2, 3 divisions. Okay. All right, so what you're interested in is this point on the edge and then the 1/3 mark. All right, and in the final version, you're going to sweep your pen or pencil in a even motion all the way around to connect the dots and complete your circle.
So let's start this demonstration by drawing a perfect square, starting with a horizontal and a vertical. And I've decided to draw a 3-inch square. Notice you can draw a perfect square by adding a diagonal. Make sure it's the 45-degree triangle. Next, we're going to draw the other diagonal, and that will find the midpoint of our square, and you can add the kind of crosshairs right here at the midpoints. Next, we're going to identify the diagonals of each quadrant here and mark the 1/3, 2/3. For this demonstration, I'm circling the important points that we want to hit with our final circle. You don't have to do that in your drawing. And then let's connect the dots, preferably with one fluid motion all the way around the circle. You can see this is a skill that I could probably use some more practice in. I've just noticed that you can't tell the difference between my guidelines and my final lines because I'm trying to make my guidelines dark so you can see them in this demonstration. So I'm going to switch to the pen for my final lines. Next, let's try an oval instead of a circle. And you can do this by creating any rectangle of any shape and size. Go ahead and draw the diagonals. That will find the center points, and then mark those crosshairs for the midpoint. We've got the same procedure here of dividing 1/3, 2/3. I'm marking those important points. Again, you don't have to do that. And we will complete our freehand oval within this rectangle. So those previous two examples had drafted guidelines, but you don't have to. You can also use this technique for a quick sketch, freehand sketch. Notice that you can create the guidelines freehand. It's the exact same procedure to quickly and easily create a freehand circle. Next, I want to show you an isometric cube. So give me a second here while I draft an isometric cube, and then we're going to draw a freehand circle in the top face of this cube. All right, so this right here is the top face of the cube, and we want to draw a circle in this plane. So it's the exact same procedure. First, we're going to draw diagonals from each of the corners. And then we will do the kind of the crosshairs, so marking the midpoints. In the isometric system, this means using that 30-degree triangle. Okay. And then for each of these quadrants, we are marking the 1/3, 2/3 in the diagonal. Whoops, not that point, that one. There we go. So I'm identifying all the important points. And connect the dots. Come around your ellipse. And notice that it is an ellipse on top of this isometric cube. For our last demonstration, I'm going to draw a cube in a one-point perspective drawing system. And then we can see how to draw the circle on top of that. So I've just drawn a 3-inch square, kind of copying my one from the far left. Here's the vanishing point of this one-point perspective system. Here's the horizon line. And to draw this cube, I'm going to draw some guidelines from the important corners, back to that vanishing point. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm assuming a depth, and that there is the top face of my cube. So same procedure we've seen done several times already. You're going to connect the corners with an X. Now we mark the midpoint. And for the one-point perspective system, that means connecting with the vanishing point, and then the horizontal one is truly horizontal. Just like you've seen several times before, we're going to mark 1/3, 2/3. And for demonstration purposes, here are our important points. Okay. And then we'll draw our freehand circle. Notice that it is distorted. It is foreshortened from front to back, right? And that's why it's important to use these guidelines to help you out. To finish up this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to draw a cylinder. So we've drawn a circle on the top of this cube, but I'm finishing out kind of the back faces of the cube right now so that we can see it in 3 dimensions. And this here would be the bottom face of that cube. We're going to use the exact same procedure to draw a circle along the bottom of this cube. We've got our diagonal guidelines, we've got our kind of crosshairs, and we'll do the 1/3, 2/3. And should be able to connect the dots. Now I'm doing this in a light pencil guideline because if the cylinder is solid, all right, we won't be able to see all of that circle. I have connected the top and bottom. Here is the side of our cylinder. Here is, oh, there's the other side. And here is the bottom curved edge of the cylinder. Just for fun, let's continue with our isometric and turn this one into a cylinder. It's the same process that we've been doing. I got diagonals, then I have the crosshairs. 1/3, 2/3. And our final lines in pen here, we've got a straight side to the cylinder. Here is our curved base. Here's the other straight side and our curved base. All right. So this was the modified enclosing square method of constructing freehand circles. Go ahead and try it on your own now. Thanks, everyone.